All right. So again, I don't really have any new ideas to work with, so I'm just gonna recap some of the old stuff. Well, there is one thing. So I was thinking about. There's one thing I was thinking about, which is the whole this idea of dead time and live time and everything. I'm not gonna get into why it's complex and break it down and explain it. I'm not doing any of that, but I do want to tell you one thing. Now, what I'll say about myself, and I'll be perfectly honest with you, is that when I got charged for robbing the bank, my life was in tatters. Okay, um, everybody had pretty much abandoned me, right? And for some reason, there was a lot of people fucking with me, and I was getting pressed a lot. You know what I mean? And I feel like I was doing the right stuff because, like I said, like I've told you, I felt like I had that New York vibe. So I was kind of focused on what was actually affecting me, like my actual vibes versus, oh, I just saw some dude with pink hair on the street and he looked at me funny. That kind of thing. Now I wasn't doing that. I wasn't that and or whatnot. And whilst living my life in the area that had like that I understood in the greater Toronto area, understanding all that, I kind of just took my New York vibes the right way. You know, you know what I mean? And I mean, anyways, that's fine. But the point is that, I really tried to take care of my issues. But I did feel like there was, now at that time, now for me to talk about that time and say that, oh, I felt like there was a lot of public presence, so everyone was fucking with me, that kind of thing. I don't agree with that. I don't think that, because it doesn't really make sense. Why would like random people be fucking with me? You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Thinking about New York vibes, who would fuck with me other than people in New York? You know what I mean? And first of all, I'll be very honest with you, man. I've never gone to a high school prom in my life. Okay, when we had prom, supposedly less than 30 people showed up to the prom. And there was, I think, hundreds of students that were graduating, but maybe less than 30 people actually showed up to the prom. And this was an international school. And to me, it really, and there's a lot of international schools, by the way, in this area because it's an international, I told you, the Greater Toronto area is like an airport, man. It's understood to be an international territory. There's people coming in, when people are just flying in from everywhere, that's what this place is. So, where was I going with this? So yeah, so I don't believe that it was just, random people, the public wanting to screw with me. I don't think it was that kind of thing. I think it was the same as New York vibes. I think it was the same thing, you got a guy and really, I mean, I would have been the most if thinking right now, and it's exactly what the reality was. If I was in New York at that time, which I feel like I was, is that, I would have had such a goddamn hard time. Miami, I could get away with. Miami, I could have a beautiful time in Miami. I could have a beautiful time in Miami. And the reason is that I just, the reason is that I'm kind of, at that time, I was dressed well. I was going to parties. I was getting those party vibes, learning about the parties, having a good time. Talking to girls and trying to pick up girls. Not necessarily, a lot of picking up girls, but I was trying, and the trying wasn't like kind of forced. It was just kind of natural, I would strike up conversations and stuff. Now for me, it was very easy because my personality was very like, I was very easy to approach. I was very friendly. I was having a good time. I was decent looking. I was dressed well. I was having fun, and those are all big deals in a party place like Miami or any place. And because I was so non-threatening. I was just everything about me was so non-threatening. Yet I still like I could probably fight a little bit, but it wasn't something that I was throwing out there. Look how rough and tough I am. I was very non-threatening. It made some girls sick. Some girls don't like that kind of shit, and I'm not talking about specific girls. There are girls some girls don't like that kind of thing, that non-threatening vibe and friendly vibe. Some girls would think I was gay, Really, I mean, I remember there was a girl who was literally trying to hook me up. Like there were girls, and this happened to me like 3 or 4 times. There were girls that were trying to hook me up with gay guys. I'm not even joking. And I had no problem talking to the gay guys, but the gay guys will tell me eventually, I'm gay, and I see that you're straight. This may not be something that you wanna, be a part of. And I said, that's totally fine. You do your thing. It was nice talking to you, and it was nice learning, and I would leave. I would talk to people a lot, and I felt like I would learn. You got people coming to parties, and you have all kinds of different groups of people who work in different things, and it's just so much fun to strike up conversations. But I was very non-threatening. I never got into a single fight in that place. I would never fight or anything like that. And that was actually getting me by in Miami. You can do that. You can work valet. You can be in Miami. You can work valet, or you can work some kind of 4-star hotel, American hotel chain or whatever, and you can have a good time. That's the beauty of Miami. There are clubs in South Beach where that's where millionaires go. You know what I mean? And there is a scene, like a millionaire scene. I was never part of the millionaire scene, but I wasn't far from it at the same time. I wasn't part of it, but I wasn't far from it. I was kind of associated, and rich people had no problem talking to me, again, because I was non-threatening, I was decent looking, I was very friendly, I was having fun, and every now and then a rich person would come and talk to me and whatnot, and it was fine. I really had no issues with anybody. I was not trying to get into fight. I was not trying to get racial. I was not trying to push anyone's buttons. Now you might ask me, for what reason would I ever leave this whole Miami vibe? Why would I do that? You know what I mean? Why would I do it? Probably because it wasn't practical. I learned a lot and I gained a lot from all these experiences, but that kind of lifestyle was not going to end up anywhere. It was going to be for life. For the rest of my life, I'd be working full-time valet job, living in a shitty apartment, and going to parties all these nights, you know what I mean? And going out all the time. So I guess there was some point where I was like, something needs to change, and this is not going to work well. And at the same time, it was also a transition, and I really believe Colombia was a transition. Like being in Colombia, that was the transition. I mean, I felt it. Not only when I got to the airport, even when I got on the plane. I'm not talking about people hassling me. Even when I got on the plane, it was just like people just changed the way that they were associating with me. It just got different. Like men would be threatened by me. You know what I mean? And I don't mean physically. Like men would be threatened by me. They'd be like, this guy might fuck my girl. And I'm not even joking. Like there were dudes that would, I started feeling it right away, and I felt it even more. Because I never had any issues with adults. I looked so young, and I was so non-threatening that I had no issues. And every now and then a girl might want to, screw around with me just because it's fun, and I'm good looking, and she can kind of tell a good little story. And the fact that I was actually hooking up with so few girls was like, hey, guess what? I was one of those few girls that hooked up with them. You know what I mean? That was kind of like, That was kind of like silent brownie points. You know what I mean? So it was weird. I mean, men were really threatened by me, man. They thought I was going to fuck their girl, or as they got, fuck your bitch. They thought I was going to fuck their bitch. That wasn't my personality, man. I wasn't the type of guy that was going to go and fuck your bitch. You know what I mean? I wasn't just going to do that, man. I wasn't going to, you're hanging out with her and I'm going to come sit at your table and start picking up your girl, man. I'm not going to do shit like that, man, But it was a lot of misunderstanding. And I used to feel like I was thrown into New York. And I'm not blaming Colombia, but I feel like some of my experiences there, because Colombia is kind of like Miami, and if I was pushed out of Miami, naturally, I know that the next place they push me to is New York. I'm not going to talk about what I did there in my activities, but I wasn't heavily involved in anything. I was, you know what I mean? But the thing is, I can understand, coming back, that they would just say, no more Miami. This dude is not going to be in Miami. Push him to New York. Okay, the last time, and that was about a month before I robbed the bank, I went back to my hangout spot in Yorkville, and guess what? I didn't even know this. I went to the hangout spot, this beautiful old bar that had been bought out like 30, 40 years ago, where the rent was cheap and buying it was cheap. And now, the place was getting really expensive. But that wasn't it. Something happened with the owner and whatnot. And when I got there, she was, everybody was quiet, and she was talking on the mic, and she was saying that, dude, we're gonna close down after 30 years. She was very emotional. She was very sad. Some people were emotional, and she was gonna shut down that bar. That was the last night that it was gonna be open, and I remember that moment, and then I left from there, and I never went back again. But I'm gonna need 2 videos to do this. But yeah, it's like I was pushed into New York, man. Imagine a guy like me getting pushed into New York. I'll be very honest with you. People didn't usually think that I even had a family. You know what I mean? Like, people didn't even think that, dude. I literally, I was living in a house with the so-called family, but I would tell them stuff like, okay, dude, I got a work trip to go to. I'm gonna be in Niagara region for about 2 months, and I was going to Colombia for 2 months. You know what I mean? They didn't even know that. I didn't even tell them I was going to Colombia. When I went to Cuba, I told them I got to go for a training session, somewhere down there. When I went to Dominican, I said I got to go for another training session for a week. So I wasn't really even I literally would just sleep there. And a lot of times I wouldn't even sleep at home. I would sleep somewhere else. I'd be sleeping at different places. I wasn't sleeping around per se, but I might just, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead. But there was many times I didn't sleep at home. And I was used to that because I used to, even before anyway, it's not a big deal. But the point is that, and I'm not into cheesy, fucking low, sleazy shit, by the way, all right? Don't do it. Now, okay, so this is gonna take a second video, I just know it. So, where was I going? So yeah, so it was like I was pushed into New York, man. There was no more Miami. I was pushing into New York. Imagine a guy like me. Okay, I was non-threatening, and now people were feeling threatened by me, right? I was easygoing. I had a job and all that. I couldn't find a goddamn job, man. Every job I went to just cut me loose within 3 to 5 days. I was out. And I kept getting a new job all the time until finally it was like nobody was gonna hire me. I couldn't get a single job out there. You know what I mean? I was frustrated. Anybody that had any connections or anyone that I knew in my life, they had all fucking cut me off. I was cut off by everybody. I didn't have a means to make money. I was cut off by everybody. People thought I was homeless. I had nothing, no friends left, no anything, no contacts, no bar to visit. No, nothing. Life had just gotten shitty for me, I robbed the bank 6 months after, 6 months after arriving in Toronto, back in Toronto from Colombia. Within days of 6 months, I robbed the bank. Okay, I went to jail. But the thing is that, I told you, man, I was kind of, I didn't want to fuck dudes as bitches. And the type of guy I wasn't going anywhere. So what did I do? I got into a few fights here and there. I mashed some guys up. There were a couple of guys, I kind of find them. I'd find a guy in the area and I start punking his shit. You know what I mean? I'd see him with whatever he looked like, or the other guy could be a big, whatever it was. And I do my thing. You know what I mean? I punk him and shit. And I was really kind of upset. I was trying to make a point. I want you guys to stop fucking with me, but I was being a fucking genuine New York nigga. I would see dudes roll up and they look like they're from New York too, and they roll up and they be staring at me like I was fucking a New York nigga, or I had already been robbing shit. I was like, dude, I'm not robbing shit, you know what I mean? The bank I did rob after, I went to jail. I had to do house arrest. I had to do bail. The last 3 years plus, I've been in an asylum consecutively. It took 2 years of consecutive being locked up. I was locked up for 2 years before I was able to even go outside for a walk. Before I could even go outside for a 20-minute walk, 30-minute, no. Before I could even go outside for a 15, 20-minute walk, it had been 2 years consecutively being locked up in an asylum facility, okay, for the crime of robbing a bank. You rob the bank, we're gonna lock you up in this facility. It took 2 years for them to allow me to do the whole community reintegration and be able to go out. It took 2 years of consecutively being locked up in an asylum. Do you understand that? You know what I mean? I had nothing. I had nothing, man. nothing to do, nothing there, man. And that actually made me stronger. But let me get to the part two.